Welcome back to my live channel, and today we're going to continue reading the story of the prophets. And today we are going to read the story of Prophet Ibrahim AS. So Ibrahim AS is one of the mightiest prophet of Allah. Okay, he has a huge story. Okay. Let's say he has about this thick page we're going to read about him. So Ibrahim AS is one of our mighty prophet of Islam, and he is the great grandfather of Rasulullah SAW, as well as other prophets. We shall begin. Let me see, who shall I invite? Okay, the story of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. He is Ibrahim bin Terah 250 bin Nahur 148 bin 0230H, okay, bin Ryu 239 bin Pelet 439 bin Iber 464 bin Shelah 433 bin Arfasad 438 bin Sham 600 bin Nuh alayhi salam. This is how it came. The text of Ahlul Kitab, people of the book, in their book, I've mentioned the age of every one of them after their names in Bible, Genesis 11. Bin Asaqir has narrated from Ikrimah saying Ibrahim a.s. was nicknamed as Abu Difan. It is said when his father Terah was 75 years old, Abraham and his brother Nahor Haran were born to him. Haran had a son called Lut, who later became a prophet. It is also said that Ibrahim was the second son of his father, and Haran died during the life of his father in the land he was born in, the land of Chaldeans, Babylonia. This is the most famous credible opinion among the historians. Ibn Asakir has authenticated this opinion and said that he was born in Babylon. Historians have mentioned that Abraham married Sarah. However, she was barren and had no child. Terah took his son Abraham, his daughter-in-law Sarah, his grandson Lot, the son of Haran, and set off from the land of Chaldeans towards the land of Canaan. However, they stopped at Haran. Terah died there at age 250. This shows that he was not born in Haran. His birthplace was Chaldea, the land of Babylon. Then they set off for Canaan, the land of Baitul Maqdis. They lived for a while in Haran, the land of Chaldeans at that time, and then lived in the lands of Arabian Peninsula and Syria. In Syria, people worshipped the 7 stars. Those who lived in Damascus were followers of this religion. They would turn their faces towards the North Pole and worship the 7 stars with peculiar rituals involving verbal utterance and physical activities. This is a reason why we find on each of the 7 ancient gates of Damascus an altar for each of those stars. They celebrated them and offered their sacrifice to them. So the people of Haran also worshipped the stars and idols. And there were no believers except Abraham, his wife, and his nephew Lot. It was Prophet Abraham salam whom Allah appointed for the purpose of eliminating those evils of that time. Allah granted him wisdom in his childhood and sent him as a messenger and made him as his friend in his old age. Allah says, and we bestowed upon Abraham before his rectitude of conduct, and we knew about him well. It's from Surah Al-Anbiya, chapter 21, verse 51. Allah says, and Abraham, when he said to his people, worship Allah and fear Him, that is best for you, if only you knew for what you worship other than Allah are only idols, and you invent falsehood. Those whom you worship other than Allah have no power to provide you with sustenance. So seek your sustenance only from Allah and worship Him, and be grateful to Him, and to Him shall you return. And if you disbelieve, then nations have disbelieved before you, and for the messengers it is only to convey the manifest message. Have you not seen how Allah originates the creation, then repeats it? Indeed, this is an easy matter for Allah. Say, travel through the earth and see how Allah originated the creation. Then Allah causes a later creation to grow. Indeed, Allah has power over all things. He chastises whom He wants to, and has mercy upon whom He pleases. And to Him you shall be returned. And you are unable to frustrate His will on the earth nor in the heaven, and you have no protector or helper other than Allah. And those who disbelieve in the signs of Allah in the meeting with Him, they have despaired of my mercy, and for them awaits a painful chastisement. But the answers of His people was only that they said, kill him or burn him. However, Allah saved him from the fire. Surely in these are signs for those who believe. Surely in these are signs for those who believe. And He said, you have taken idols for worship other than Allah, only out of mutual affection between yourselves in this life. But on the day of judgment, you will reject each other, and you will curse each other, and your abode will be the fire, and you will have no helpers. But Lot believed in Him, and Abraham said, I am living for the cause of my Lord. Indeed, He is the Almighty, the All-Wise, and we granted him Isaac and Jacob, and ordained in his progeny the prophethood and the book, and we gave him his reward in this life, and in the hereafter he shall be among the righteous. This is from Surah Al-Ankabut, chapter 29, verse 16 to verse 27. Abraham and his father. His first call was directed to his father who worshipped idols. As a father, he deserved his most sincere advice. Allah said in the Quran, and we mentioned in the book Abraham, surely he was a man of truth, a prophet. When he said to his father, O my father, why do you worship why do you worship that which can neither see nor hear, nor can avail you anything? O my father, I received such knowledge as has not come to you. So follow me, and I will guide you to the straight path. O father, do not worship Satan. Surely Satan is rebellious to Allah, the most gracious. O my father, I fear lest chastisement afflict you from Allah, the most gracious, so you become a companion of Satan. He, the father, replied, "Are you turning from my gods, O Abraham? Surely, if you do not relent, I shall stone you, and now leave me alone for a good time long." Abraham said, "Peace be upon you. I will pray to my Lord to forgive you. Indeed, He is to me the most gracious, and I am leaving you and those whom you invoke beside Allah. I will invoke my Lord that I may be blessed in my invocation." From Surah Maryam, chapter 19, verse 41 to 48. In this above mentioned verse, Allah has mentioned the conversation and argument that went on between him and his father. He has mentioned how Abraham invited his father towards the way of truth, in with gentleness and politeness. He explained to him why he was wrong in worshipping idols which neither have the capability to hear what its worshipper invoked them for, nor could they see. How then could they avail anybody's needs or provide them with provision or help? Then Abraham told his father about what Allah has bestowed upon him of guidance and beneficial knowledge for the guidance of mankind. Though he was younger in his age than his father, he said, "O my father, I have received such knowledge as has not come to you. So follow me and I will guide you to the straight path." 1943. Meaning a way which is clear and easy, which leads you to the straight towards Allah, and which brings the goodness of this life and the life pattern hereafter. Pause over here. Sometimes whatever our children says is for our own benefit. Okay, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, as you see the stories of the prophets, most of them, the sons were guiding their fathers or their people to the right path. So when you notice children these days, they are doing the right thing and you know they're doing the right thing, do not show your ego to them. Do not show ego to them. There's a reason why Allah gives us all these informations. That's my neighbor, just ignore. Informations, so that we can take this as a guidance. Let's ignore that drilling noise is coming from my neighbor. When Abraham offered his father the divine guidance and sincere advice, he rejected them and threatened to stone him if he did not cease from it. "O Abraham, surely if you do not relent, I shall stone you, and now leave me alone for a good long time." 1946. Okay. Abraham replied to him, "Peace be upon you." He said to his father, "No harm will reach you from my side, nor would you face any insult. You are safe as far as I am concerned. Instead, you would see good from me. I will pray to my Lord to forgive you. Indeed, He is to me the most gracious." 1947. Ibn Abbas radhiyallahu anhu said, the word Hafiya in the verse means kind and gentle, which means Allah was kind to me in granting me His guidance to worship Him and to worship Him in the proper way. And so He said, "And I am leaving you and those whom you invoke besides Allah. I will invoke my Lord that I may be blessed in my invocation." And indeed, Abraham sought forgiveness from Allah for his father, as he promised to him. However, when it come clear to him that he was an enemy to Allah, he disassociated himself from him, as the Quran said. And Abraham's act of seeking forgiveness for his father was only because of a promise he had made to him. But when it came clear to him that he was an enemy to Allah, he disassociated himself from him. Surely Abraham was most tender-hearted, forbearing. Surah Taubah chapter 9 verse 114. It is narrated from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, who reported from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, Abraham will meet his father Azar. Is it Azar? Let me see what the father name is. It Azar or Azar? Azar. Yeah. Azar on the day of judgment, he will see his face miserable and full of dust. Abraham will say to him, Did I not tell you that you should not disobey me? His father will reply to him, Today I shall not disobey you. Abraham will answer to him, O Lord, you promised me that you shall not disgrace me on the day of judgment. So today there is no disgrace greater than the disgrace of my father being away from me. Allah will say, Then I have made the paradise forbidden for the disbelievers. Then it will be said, O Abraham, what is under your feet? Then he will look only to find a stained sacrifice. It will be taken by his legs and thrown in the hellfire. Bukhari 3350. And when Abraham said to his father Azar, do you take idols for gods? Indeed, I see you and your people in manifest error. So, this verse shows that the name of the father Abraham was Azar. However, the majority of genealogists, including Ibn Abbas, says his father name was Terah, while Ahlul Kitab, people of the book, also say Terah. So it suggested that Azar was the name of the idol his father worshipped, and he nicknamed after it. Ibn Jarir says the correct opinion is that his name was Azar, and perhaps he had two names. One of them is his name and the other is his nickname. Thus we did show Abraham the dominion of the heavens and the earth, that he would certain in his faith. When the night outspread over him, he saw a star and said, This is my Lord. But when it set, he said, I do not love the ones which set. When he saw the moon shining full, he said, This is my Lord. But when the moon set, he said, Unless my Lord guides me, I shall be among those who go astray. But when the sun set, when he saw the sun rise, he said, This is my Lord, this is greater. But when the sun set, he said, O my people, surely I am free of which you associated with God. I have turned my face sincerely to Allah, the one who created the heavens and earth, and I shall not be of those who associate partners with him. His people argued with him. He said, Do you dispute with me with regard to Allah? When he has guided me, I fear not those whom you associated with him, unless my Lord wills otherwise. The knowledge of my Lord embraces all things. Will you not be admonished? And how should I fear that which you have associated with Allah, while you do not fear associating partners with him, for which you have received no authority? So which of the two parties deserve to feel secure? If only you knew. Only those who have believed and have not polluted their faith by associating others with Allah, these have security and are rightly guided. This was our argument which we gave Abraham against his people. We rise up in rank whom we please. Surely your Lord is all wise, all knowing. It's from Surah Al-An'am chapter 6, verse 74 to verse 83. So I want to stop here, okay? Whenever we pray, we will say this: Wajjahtu wajhi alladhi fatara samawati wal arda hanifan wa ma ana minal musyrikin. Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alamin. La syarika lahu wa bidzalika umirtu wa ana minal muslimin. So the first one comes from Wajjahtu wajhi alladhi fatara samawati wal arda hanifan wa ma ana minal musyrikin. It comes from the Surah Al-An'am, verse number 79. Is it 79? Yeah, 79. Okay. Continue. Yeah. This is the reason why you should be grateful with your sight when you are able to see clearly. I used to see clearly until a couple of years ago. Alhamdulillah, I still can see. Allah has mentioned where Abraham and his people, in their mode of argumentation, he showed them and through them to all mankind and those celestial bodies which they observe, whether during the day or at night, are not fit to be God or divine. They do not deserve to be worshipped beside Allah because they are only creatures that are cared for, directed and controlled. They rise and then they set and disappear. While Allah is the Almighty, nothing could disappear nor can hide from Him. He is everlasting and eternal. There is no God or Lord worthy to worship beside Him. First, He explained to them that stars are not fit for the status of being worshipped. Then He moved to the moon that is bigger and more beautiful than the stars. However, He moved to the sun that is the brightest and the most beautiful celestial bodies, and explained that even it was subjected and controlled. Allah says, "And of His signs are the night and the day, and the sun and the moon. Prostrate not to the sun and the moon, but prostrate yourselves to Allah who created them, if it is He that you worship." From Surah Fussilat, chapter 41, verse 37. This is why Allah said, when He saw the sun rise, the word bazighatan denotes here to rise. He said, "This is my Lord. This is greater." But when the sun said, He said, "O my people, surely I am free of what which you associate with Allah. I have turned my face sincerely to Allah, the one who created the heavens and the earth, and I shall not be those who associate partners with Allah." His people argued with Him. He said, "Do you dispute me with regard to Allah when He has guided me? I fear not which you associate with Him, unless my Lord wills otherwise." From chapter 6, verse 78 to 80. He said, "I do not care about these gods which you worship beside Allah, because they cannot benefit nor harm anyone, nor can they hear nor understand anything. They are creatures of Allah, subjected to Him, like the stars, or they are manufactured, hewed out of the stones, or carved out of wood." The people of Babylon worshipped idols, and they... Okay, pause here 1 minute. Ancient Babylon is current Iraq. Correct. So if you notice that most of the prophets were from the Middle East. Okay, you have Hud, Saleh, you have Lot, you have Ibrahim, then you have Ismail, Ishaq, you have all the prophets around the Middle East region. But during the prophets of that time, they were Muslims and they were non-Muslims as well. Okay, the Muslims were very few in numbers than the non-Muslims for the prophets of the past. But after Rasulullah SAW, if you notice, this is my opinion, because I have never been to the Middle East except for once when I did my Umrah, so that doesn't count as one. Except when Rasulullah SAW had started his prophethood. Now, is currently, all those regions who used to disobey the prophets of the past, who used to disobey the prophet of the past, who used to be a non-believers of the past, currently majority of them are believers. Majority of them. So you find people in Saudi, there's a lot of Muslims. In Jordan, a lot of Muslims. Kuwait, a lot of Muslims. UAE, a lot of Muslims. Iraq, Iran is not the Middle East. Iraq, Syria, that earlier that I read in Damascus, they used to worship idols and stars. See, the people of Damascus, then Lebanon, Palestine, the ancient Canaanites, the Egyptians, most of them are Muslims. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Ummah, we are the most gifted ones. And perhaps it's our ancestors who were among the Muslims, they'll be proud of us. If our ancestors were among the Muslims, they'll be proud of us. Or if our ancestors who were among the non-Muslims will be sad seeing us because we are not like them. Okay, let us continue with the book. The people of Babylon worshipped idols, and they are those with whom Abraham argued about their patterns of worship, broke their idols in pieces in all humiliation, and provide their falsehood, and prove their falsehoods. Allah said, and He said, you have taken idols for worship other than Allah, but only out of the mutual affection between yourselves in this life. But on the day of judgment, you will reject each other, and you will curse each other, and your abode will be the hellfire, and you have no helpers. Chapter 29, verse 25. Allah says in Surah Al-Anbiya, and we bestowed on Abraham before his rectitude of conduct, and we were well aware of him. When he said to his father and his people, what are these statues to which you are devoted? They said, we found our fathers worshipping them. He said, you and your fathers are certainly in manifest error. They said, have you come to us with the truth, or you are only a jester? He said, but your Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, who originated them, and I am one of those who bear witness to them. And by Allah, I surely outwit your idols after you have gone away. So he broke them into pieces, except the largest, the biggest of them, that they might return and see it. They said, who has done this to our gods? Surely he is one of the evildoers. They said, we heard a youth speaking about them, and he is called Abraham. They said, bring him before the eyes of the people, that they may bear witness. They said, have you done this to our gods, O Abraham? He said, it was the biggest one of them who did it. So ask them if they were able to speak. Then they turned to their own conscience and said, surely you are yourself unjust. Then they were confounded with shame and said, surely you know that they do not speak. He said, do you then worship other than Allah something can neither benefit to you nor do any harm? Fie upon you that said which you worship other than Allah. Do you have no sense? They said, burn him and avenge your gods if you are going to do anything. We said, O fire, be cool and safe for Abraham. Then they looked for a way to outwit him. So we made them the worst of losers. This from Surah Al-Anbiya chapter 21 verse 51 to 70. And in Surah Al-Ashura, the Quran says, and relate to them the story of Abraham when he said to his father and to his people, what is this that you are worship? They said, we worship idols and we worship them with devotion. He said, do they hear when you call? No, do they benefit you or harm you? They said, no, but we found our fathers doing the same. He said, have you considered that you are worshipping? Have you considered what you are worshipping, you and your forefathers? They are enemies to me except the Lord of the worlds. The one who created me is the one who guides me. He gives me to eat and to drink, and when I am ill, it is He who heals me, and who will cause me to die and then bring me to life again, and who I hope will forgive me my sins on the day of judgment. My Lord, grant me wisdom and join me with the righteous. This dua is best for us to read all the time. Okay? It's from Surah Al-Ashura, chapter 26, verse 69 to 83. So you should read from this one. Rabbi habli hukmau wa hikni bis-salihin. It's the best that we keep on reading. My Lord, grant me wisdom and join me with the righteous. Inshallah. Next, we should continue. And one who followed his way was Abraham. When he approached his Lord with a pure heart, when he said to his father and to his people, what is that you worship? Do you seek falsehood gods other than Allah that you desire? What do you think then about the Lord of the worlds? And then he cast a glance in the stars and said, I am sick. So they turned away from him and went away. Then he turned to their gods and said, why do you not eat? What is the matter with you that you do not speak? And he turned upon them, smiting them with his right hand. So they came to him hastening. He said, do you worship what you have carved? And Allah has created you and what you make. They said, prepare for him a furnace and cast him into the blaze. They devised a plot against him, but we made them the most humiliated. This is from Surah Al-Safat, chapter 37, verse 83 to verse 98. Here, Allah has informed to us that Abraham renounced and practiced of his people in their worship of idol, and demeaned by saying, what are these statues to which you are devoted? 21:52. Meaning you attend to them by devotion and humility. They said, we found our fathers worshipping them. 21:53. Their evidence was nothing but a blind following of the patterns of their fathers and ancestors in their worshipping idols. He said, you and your fathers are certainly in manifest error. 21:54. In this he said, another verse, when he said that to his father and to his people, what is it that you worship? Do you seek falsehood gods other than Allah that you desire? What do you think then about the Lord of the worlds? Chapter 37, verse 85 to 87. Qatada said, it means that, do you think that Allah will do with you when you meet him ultimately after you have worshipped idols? Do they not hear when you call, or do they benefit you or harm you? They said, no, we found our fathers doing the same. Chapter 26, verse 72 to 74. The people of Abraham accepted the fact that the idols do not hear anyone who calls them, neither do they benefit or harm anybody. The only reason they worshipped these idols was that they found their forefathers worshipping them, or those who were deviant from the right path like them. So Abraham said to them, "Do you consider then what you are worshipping? You and your forefathers, they are enemy to me, except the lords of the world." Chapter 26, verse 75 to 77. This is a decisive evidence against the falsehood of those who worship idols, because had they been true gods, they could have harmed Abraham and when he disowned them. They said, "Have you come to us with the truth, or you are only a jester?" Chapter 21, verse 55. They said to him, "What he was calling to them, or refuting the practice of worship, or discrediting their fathers for whether it was all serious, or was he just doing with them as jest?" He said, "But your Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, who originated them, and I am those who bear witness to that." Chapter 21, verse 56. He answered to them that he was serious to his call, and that their God is only one God, the Lord of everything, and the creator of every being. He who created this universe with no precedence, and so they should worship him without associating any partners with him. "And by Allah, I shall surely outwit your idols after you have gone away." Chapter 21, verse 57. Abraham swore that he would make same plot against their idols when they have gone for their festival, whether he said this openly to them, or just determined to his mind to do this. Both are suggested by exegetes. Ibn Mas'ud said that he told some of them openly. Okay, pause for a moment. This is quite a thick topic for Ibrahim. Yeah, Ibrahim AS topic is quite thick. I'm just looking for some Isaac. Yes, girl. Yes, baby girl. Yes, Amma. Okay. Oh. I'm just looking for something here. So it's strange. Like some of the pages are missing. Okay, never mind. Like some of the pages are missing. It's okay. Be back. Oh yeah, it is not. It is correct. Why you don't have Yaqub alayhi salam? Why don't have Yaqub alayhi salam? Amma. Abraham and the idols. They had festival which they celebrated once every year, going out their town. Abraham's father asked him to attend it, but he said that he was ill and not feeling well. And then he cast a glance at the stars and said, "I'm sick." So, chapter 37, verse 88 to 89. Abraham allowed in his speech so that he could humiliate the idols and support the religion of Allah and religion of truth. When they went for their festival and found himself alone in the town, he turned to their gods. Chapter 37, verse 91. Raga means he hurried towards them, hiding himself. He found them in the magnificent surrounding with foods of every kind as offering to them. So he said to them in derision, "Why do you not eat? What is the matter with you that you do not speak?" And he turned upon them, smiting them with his right hand. Chapter 37, verse 91 to 93. He smashed them with an axe. He broke them into pieces, except the biggest of them, that they might return and see it. Chapter 21, verse 58. It is said that he hung the axe in the hand of the biggest of their gods to demean it. When they returned from their festival, they discovered that what had befallen upon their gods. They said, "Who has done this to our gods? Surely he is one of the most unjust." Chapter 21, verse 59. There was a clear evidence in this. If they had mind to understand, were they true gods, they would not have suffered this humiliation and dismantling of themselves, and they would have certainly defended themselves from whosoever wanted to harm them. But because of their ignorance and persistence in their deviation, and they said, "Who has done this to our gods?" Chapter 21, verse 59. They said, "We heard a youth speaking about them, and he is called Abraham." Chapter 21, verse 60. He spoke about them in derisions and digressions. He is the one who have done this and broke them into pieces. But according to what Ibn Mas'ud said earlier, that he spoke to them openly, it meant that he was the one who threatened them by saying, "By Allah, I shall surely outwit your idols after you have gone away." Chapter 21, verse 57. They said, "Bring him before the eyes of the people, that they might bear witness." Chapter 21, verse 61. They said, "Bring him to our assembly in front of all people, so that they could bear what he says and witness the occasion, and also observe what punishment we might decide to inflict upon him." This was the main purpose of Ibrahim AS, that all people could come in one place, and so he could fulfill his duty in mission by refuting their false practice of worshipping idols. Just as Moses said to Pharaoh when he said, Your appointment is on the day of the festival of adornment, and let the people be assembled at high noon." That was from chapter 20, Surah Taha, verse 59. Just give me a moment, my glasses giving me problems. Ya Rabbal Alameen. When they gathered and brought Abraham, they asked him, "Have you done this to our gods?" Abraham said, "It was the biggest of them did it. So ask them if they are able to speak." Chapter 21, verse 62 to 63. It is said that he meant that it was the biggest of these idols who provoked me to break them into pieces. Then Abraham wanted to draw the attention to was the fact that their gods could not even speak, so they could recognize that they had nothing but animated being. Then they turned to their own conscience and said, "Surely you are yourself unjust." Chapter 21, verse 64. they started lamenting themselves by saying, "You yourself were wrong when you left your gods alone unprotected." When they were confronted with shame, Qatada said, "People were taken by bewilderment and shame, so they lowered their heads and said, 'Surely you know that they do not speak.'" Chapter 21, verse 65. "You know better, Abraham, that they do not speak. So how come you ask us to question them?" So this was the moment when Abraham put his question. Do you then worship other than Allah something that can neither benefit you nor harm you, fire upon you and what you worship other than Allah? Do you have no sense? Chapter 21, verse 66 to 67. Allah said, so they came to him hastening. He said, "Do you worship what you have carved?" Chapter 37, verse 94 to 95. "How could you worship idols that you have carved out by your own hands from stones and woods and given them shapes? And God has created you and what you make." Chapter 37, verse 96. What it meant is, you are creature and these idols are creatures. So how could a creature worship another creature? Your worship of them is not more deserving to their worship of you. This is false, because worship belongs only to Allah, who is the creator, without any partnership of anybody and anything. Okay, pause over here. Sometimes we thought that associating other partners, but worshipping idols is considered the worshipping of. Why did I go so far away? Sorry. Oh, correct. This Surah Ibrahim is quite long. It's quite long. It's really very long story. Yes, it's really very long story. So, like sometimes even we go for fame, we go for power, it's also considered associating partners with Allah. Because when we go for fame, we forget to ask Him guidance. If you ask Him for guidance and ask Him for protection, okay, fame is like, you want to be a top singer, top model, fame. It's also considered associating partners with God. We want to have more wealth, more money. It all depends how each individual thinks about it. And for go run after beauty, run after materialistic, it's also considered associating partner with God. Doesn't necessarily worshipping idols, worshipping other creation is associating partner with Allah. Even you are running after fame, running after wealth, running after certain things is also considered associating partner with God. Okay. Let me, I took off my glasses because I'm having a headache recently, and with both glasses and dark glasses still doesn't look good to me. Okay, let's continue. It's quite thick. I'll take a short break and then continue for a while. Let's see. Shall I divide this story into? Yes, I should divide this story into. Okay. So this will be the last page. This will not be the last part I will read. Then inshallah later I will continue with part 2. Okay. Abraham and the fire. They said, "Prepare for him a furnace and cast him into the blaze." They devised a plot against him, but we made them the one most humiliated. Chapter 37, verse 97 and 98. They turned from the argument and debate when they found themselves overwhelmed and without any evidence to threats and the use of power and authority in order that they could support their gods and help them. But Allah had other plan for them. They said, burn him and avenge your gods if you are going to do anything. We said, O fire, be cool and safe for Abraham. Then they looked for a way to outwit him. So we made them the worst of losers. Chapter 21, verse 68 to verse 70. They started gathering firewood from every possible place for a long time. It was so huge a furnace that whether any woman got ill, she would make a vow that if she was to heal, she would gather firewood for the furnace to burn Ibrahim. Astaghfirullahalazim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. They prepared a huge solid land where they brought all firewood and set the fire. It started to flame and began a huge blaze, and its sparks seemed to be touching the sky. Then they placed Abraham into a catapult that was made by a Kurdish man called Hizan, and he was the first to invent catapult. So he invented a catapult for a wrong reason. Allah caused him to be swallowed by the earth, and he will be sinking in it till the day of judgment. They started shackling Abraham in chain, and he remembered Allah with these words, there's no God worthy to worship but you. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka. No. There is no Lord to be worshipped except you, but you are free of all will, imperfection. O Lord of the most worlds, you deserve praise, and the power is for you. You have no partner. When Abraham was placed into the catapult, shackled in chain, then thrown in the fire, he said, Allah is sufficient for us. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. And how good protector he is. Imam Bukhari has narrated from Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu, who said, Allah is sufficient for us, and how good a protector he is. Ibrahim AS said it when he was thrown in the fire, and the Prophet Muhammad SAW said it when it was said to him, O people have gathered against you, so fear them. But it increased them in faith, and they said, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for us. How excellent a protector he is. So they turned with blessings and bounty from Allah. No harm ever touched them. Says from Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3, verse 173 to 174. Pause a moment. We see the people in Palestine, in Sudan, in certain areas that being attacked and harmed by the evil people. The only thing they said, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. They still have faith in Allah. They still have faith because they know if not now he help, if not now he show his miracle, if not now he show his help, but they know that his help is very near. And they know if they never get their justice in this world, they will get their justice in the next world. They are showing us the example of Ibrahim AS, Rasulullah SAW, and the other prophets. Because Ya Allah, please make the people who are being oppressed, be Muslim or non-Muslims, help them, Ya Allah. Help everybody in the world, be they Muslims or non-Muslims. Help those who are being oppressed and destroy those oppressors, Ya Allah, be they Muslims or non-Muslims. So, it is narrated when he was thrown and was still in the air, Jibreel AS, Angel Gabriel, approached him and said to him, Abraham, do you need any help? He said, if it's from you, then no. Ibn Abbas and Sa'id ibn Jubair have narrated that the angel of rain said, when will I commanded so that I could bring rain. However, Allah's command was quicker than all. We say, O fire, be cool and safe for Abraham. 21 verse 69. Ali ibn Abu Talib said that it meant do not harm him. Ibn Abbas and Abdullah said, had Allah not said save for Abraham, the goodness would have harmed him. Okay. Stop here. What I want to say, I can't remember. I forgot what I want to say. Let's put it back on. Ka'ab ibn Ahbar said no people could benefit on that day from the fire, and it could not burn except the chain he has shackled in. Yes, now I remember what I want to say. You see how Ibrahim AS was shackled, right? He was shackled and then he was thrown into fire. Isn't it the same thing happening to the Palestinian people, that they are being cable tied from their back tightly that they cannot even move? They're being killed and buried alive. And do you think Allah will spare those disbelievers, those oppressors, easily? Nah. The day will come when these oppressors will see horror, that even people, normal people like us, are the one who will be the most scared when we see that happen. Continue. And the Haqq said, it is narrated that Gabriel was with him, wiping his sweat from his face, and he did not suffer anything from it except that sweat. Abu Hurairah said the best speech that Abraham's father said was when he saw his son in that condition. How good a God is your Lord, O Abraham. Ibn Asakir has narrated from Ikrimah that the mother of Abraham looked at her son and called him, O my son, I want to come to you, so pray to Allah so he could save me from the heat of the fire around you. Wow, his mother became a Muslim. Abraham said, yes, mother, come to him without being harmed from the heat of the fire. When she got there, she embraced him and kissed him and then returned. Minhal bin Amr said, I was informed that Ibrahim stayed there for 40 or 50 days. He said, no days and no nights were so good in my life as when I was in the fire. I wished all my life were like that. May Allah send His blessings upon you. The people of Abraham wanted to take the revenge, but they were humiliated. They wanted to rise above him, but they were put low. Okay, this part makes me smile. I come to you why. Allah said, then they looked for a way to outwit him, so we made them the worst of losers. Chapter 21 verse 70. And in another verse, it is said that one of the most humiliated, they return with loss and humility in this world and in the hereafter. Their fire will not be cool and safe for them. They will not receive any greetings and message of peace. It will be as Allah said, evil indeed is dwelling place and an abode. From Surah Al-Furqan 25:66. The Prophet ﷺ ordered to kill. Okay, before I start this one, I want to say this. Okay, the people of Abraham wanted to take revenge, but they were humiliated. They wanted to rise above him, but they were put lower. Okay, what I want to say was, currently the people of Palestine, Syria, Sudan, They are facing oppressions, correct? They are facing oppressions from their oppressors. And the oppressors wanted to humiliate them, they want to put them low, and they want to do all kinds of things, but at the end, what's happening to them? Like the usually say we want to take revenge, but at the end, it's not the end yet, it's still ongoing. But now look who's supporting who, whose eyes that Allah had opened. Allah works wonders. Okay, continue. The Prophet ﷺ ordered to kill wazagh, lizard, and he said it blew the fire of Abraham. And Imam Ahmad narrated from Aisha radhiyallahu anha, who said that the Prophet ﷺ said, kill the house lizard because it flared up the fire of Abraham. So it means when they placed the fire, the lizard was blowing the fire to make it big. So Al-Bukhari 3359, Muslim 2237, An-Nasai 2888, and Ibn Majah 3228. Imam Ahmad related from Nafi saying that a woman entered upon Aisha radhiyallahu anha, saw an erected spear. She asked, what is this spear for? She replied, we killed the lizard with it. She then narrated from the Prophet ﷺ, when Abraham was thrown into the fire, all animals started to put out the fire except the lizard started flaring it up. Imam Ahmad also reported that Samamah, a slave girl of Faqiqah bin Mughira, said, I entered upon Aisha radhiyallahu anhuma and saw in her house a spear laid down on the bed. I said, oh Ummul Mu'minin, what do you do with this spear? She said, we kept it for these lizards, to kill them, because the Prophet ﷺ told us when Ibrahim AS was thrown in the fire, there was no animal on earth but tried to put the fire out except the lizard, which tried to flare it. So the Prophet ﷺ ordered us to kill it. Okay. So I'm going to pause here. Let me see if I pause here or should I pause the next part. Okay, I shall read one more page and then after that I will pause and then continue later after Salah Asr. Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, argument between Ibrahim and Nimrud. Have you not seen him who disputed with Ibrahim about his Lord because Allah has granted him power? And when Ibrahim said, my Lord is he who gives life and ordain death, he said, I give life and cause death. Abraham said, it is Allah indeed who caused the sun to rise from the east. Can you make it rise from the west? Thus he was who disbelieved, confounded, and Allah does not guide those who are unjust. Wow, powerful verse. What is this? Okay. In these verses, Allah has mentioned the argument that Ibrahim had with his arrogant and haughty king who claimed lordship for himself. Abraham showed the falsehood of his argument and showed him how ignorant he was. Exegetes, genealogists, and historians say that this king was the king of Babylon. He was called Nimrud bin Canaan bin Kosh bin Sheb bin Noah. This is narrated by Mujahid. However, others said he was Nimrud bin Peleg bin Eber bin Shaleh bin Afrasek bin Shan bin Noah. Mujahid and others say that he was one of the kings at that time. There have been 4 kings who ruled the earth. 2 were believers, 2 were disbelievers. The believers were Dhul Qarnayn and Sulaiman alayhi salam. The 2 disbelievers, Nimrud and Nabuchadnezzar. Okay, earlier verse reference from the Quran is Surah Al-Baqarah verse 258. It is said that Nimrod ruled for 400 years. He was haughty, arrogant, rebellious, and materialist. Please ignore the drilling sound. When Ibrahim AS called him towards the worship of one God, Allah, without associating any partners with him, he was prompted by his deviance and ignorance to deny the Creator. He disputed with Abraham about this, and instead he claimed lordship for himself. When Abraham said to him, "My Lord," he who give life and ordain death, he said, "I give life and cause death." Qatada Suddi bin Ishaq said, two people were brought in front of him, whom he wanted to kill. He then ordered one of them to be killed and spare the life of the other. And so he claimed that he granted life to one of them and caused death to another person. This was an argument out of context, and it was a stupid claim. Ibrahim wanted to establish the evidence for the existence of Creator by the evidence of phenomenon of life and death. All these events do not take place by themselves, but there is a Creator who causes them to happen. It is the Creator who caused this universe with its celestial bodies and with wind, clouds, rain, and animal kingdom. He gives them life and then causes their death. That is why Ibrahim said, "My Lord is He who gives life and ordains death." So that's my catch. If that haughty king meant by his claim, "I give life and cause death," that was the one who created this phenomenon of life and death, then he obstinately and willfully reject the truth. But if he meant what Qatada and others had said, then he was out of the context and did not give an answer to what Ibrahim told him. As this claim of the king that he gives life and causes death may not be very clear to many people, Abraham brought another proof for the existence of the Creator, and to refute the claim of Nimrod, he said, "It is Allah indeed who causes the sun to rise from the east. So, can you make it rise from the west?" He said to him that the sun is subjected to rise every day from the east by Allah, who is the Creator of everything and who is the only God. So if you think that it is you who can give life and cause death, then make this sun rise from the west, because one of who gives life and cause death can do anything with no hindrance. If you claim life and death, then bring the sun from the west if you are incapable of doing the latter. Then you are incapable of doing former as well. And do you know that better? You are even incapable of creating mosquito. Abraham showed him his ignorance and powerlessness, and he had nothing to answer to him. He was dumbfounded and lost for words. The Quran expressed this in the words, "Thus he was those who disbelieved confounded, and Allah do not guide people who are unjust." Suddi said this argument took place between Ibrahim and Nimrod on the day when he came out of the fire. They never sat together before, so this argument took place. It is narrated by Zaid bin Aslam. Nimrod controlled strictly the commodities, and the people went to him for their food supplies. Ibrahim also went with a group of people for his supplies. He never met Abraham before, and so this argument took place on that day. Ibrahim was not provided with his provision of food as others were given by him, so he returned without having anything with him. Sounds familiar for the current situation. As he came near to his home, he went towards the dune and filled with them his two side and said to himself, I will make my family distracted by this sight. When he came, he put them aside and went a rest and slept. His wife Sarah went to see those two sights only to find them full of best food. So she prepared food from them. Ya Allah, please give food and drinks to the people who are being oppressed, Allah. Please give food and drinks for those who are being starved in Palestine, in Iraq, in Syria, in Sudan, in Congo, in all parts of the world, Ya Allah. When he came, he put them aside and went for a rest and slept. His wife Sarah went to see those two sights only to find them full of the best food, and she prepared food from them. He saw food, so he asked, Where did you make this food? Where did you make this food? She replied, From what you brought home. Ibrahim then knew that he was a prophet of Allah, the Almighty. Ya Allah, don't let them starve, Ya Allah. Sorry, got emotion. Zaid bin Aslam said, And Allah sent an angel to that haughty king, commanding him to believe in Allah, but he refused to do so. Then he called him again, and he refused. And then he called him the third time, and he refused to do so, and said, You call forth and gather your people, and I'll call forth gather my people. Nimrod gathered his army and the people at sunrise, and Allah sent upon them army of mosquitoes in such numbers that overshadowed the sun. Allah, send your destruction to the current military, Ya Allah. You know which military we are referring to. Destroy those military like how you destroy the military army of Nimrod, Ya Allah. Destroy the army like how you destroy the army of Fir'aun, Ya Allah. Destroy the army like how you destroy the army of Nimrod, Ya Allah. Nimrod gathered his army and the people at sunrise, and Allah sent upon them an army of mosquitoes in such number that overshadowed the sun. And they ate their flesh, drank their blood, and left them a structure of bones. One of the mosquitoes entered the nose of the king and stayed therein. He was punished by that mosquito, and to get relief, the king hit his head with a hammer till he died. Okay, I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to continue later, okay? Because this is quite a big topic. Maybe I need to take 2 or 3 parts for this Ibrahim AS story. His story is a huge story, really huge story. So let's continue later. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.